Scary Guy Real Horror Story. Story 1. The Monster in the Subway.
Alex was a carefree and curious boy who loved to explore. He had heard the rumors about the abandoned subway station, but he didn't believe them. He was convinced that there was nothing to fear, that it was all just a myth. One day, he decided to explore the station alone. He walked down the dark, damp tunnel, feeling the weight of the silence around him. He had a flashlight with him, but it barely illuminated the way ahead. As he walked deeper into the tunnel, he heard a strange sound, like someone or something was following him. He turned it around, but there was nothing there. He shrugged it off and continued walking. But then he saw it. A monster with long, spindly legs, covered in hair and tooth, was crawling towards him. Its eyes glowing in the dark. Alex was unable to move or scream. The monster was getting closer and closer. It's strange and unbearable. He tried to run, but it was too late. The monster grabbed him with its long legs and dragged him into the darkness. Alex screamed, but no one heard him. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but Alex never returned. His family and friends searched for him, but they could not find him. The police investigated, but they found no trace of him. Years went by, and the abandoned subway station became a legend, a place where people went to test their courage. But no one dared to enter the tunnels alone, for fear of what lurked in the darkness. But there was more to the story than just a monster in the subway station. Some say that the station was cursed, that it was built on top of burial ground, and that the spirits of the dead were angry. Others say that a mad scientist had continued experiments in the station, creating monsters that were half human and half animal. The monsters had escaped, and now they roamed the tunnel, seeking revenge on the living. And then there were the disappearances. Over the years, many people had gone missing in the subway station, never to be seen again. Some say that the ghost of the last soul still haunts the tunnel, calling out of hell. Despite the rumors and legends, some people still dared to enter the subway station, driven by curiosity or a desire for adventure. The world co-armed with flashlights and cameras, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. But they never stayed long. The darkness was suffocating, and the silence was deafening. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and strange sound echoed in the tunnels. Sometimes the world saw something moving in the shadows, something that didn't belong in the world. Sometimes the world heard whispers, as if someone was speaking to them. Sometimes the world felt a cold breeze on the skin, even though there was no wind. And then they would run, as fast as they could, back to the safety of the daylight. They would never speak of ways they saved occurred, for fear of being labeled crazy or cursed. But the subway station was not content with being forgotten. It wanted to be remembered, to be feared, to be respected. And so it would send a monster in the world, to hunt and to kill. People would disappear, one by one, without a trace. They would be snatched from their homes, their workplaces, their schools, and then they would be gone, swallowed by the darkness. The police were baffled. They had no leads, no suspects, no clues. The only thing they knew was that the disappearances were connected to the subway station, but no one could explain now why. The subway station was just an empty, abandoned place, a relic of the past. Or was it? The truth was that the subway station was alive. In its own way, it was a place of darkness and despair, of horror and madness. It was a place where nightmares came true, where reality was distorted, where time and space had no meaning, and it was waiting for its next victim.
Story 2. Sarah and the Faceless People.
It was a dark, chilly night, and Sarah was lost in the maze on familiar streets. She had just come out of a party and was trying to make her way back home. She had never been to this part of town before and was regretting her decision to leave the party without a map or GPS. The street lights flickered and cast eerie shadows across the pavement as Sarah made her way down a narrow alleyway. As she walked, Sarah noticed a group of people in front of her. At first, she thought they were just some locals hanging out, but as she drew closer, she realized that some time passed off. The people in front of her had no faces. The features were smart and featureless, like mannequins. They were dressed in dark clothes and were standing in a circle. Their heads tilted at natural angles. Sarah felt a cold shiver run down her spine. She tried to turn around and go back the way she came, but the alley seemed to have changed. She was disoriented and couldn't tell which way was which. When she turned around, the faceless people were now behind her, moving closer and closer. Sarah started to run, but the faceless figures were faster. They were very hot on her heels, and she could feel the breeze on the back of her neck. She caught near the footsteps, pounding on the pavement as she ran. Suddenly, Sarah found herself in a maze of yards. The alley had turned into a network of interconnected gardens and backyards. She was trapped, surrounded by high walls and dense foliage. The faceless figures were closing in on her, and Sarah could feel her heart pounding in her chest. She tried to hide behind a nearby shrub, but it was too late. The faceless figures cornered her, and Sarah could feel the cold, featureless faces inches from hers. She screamed for help, but no one came. She was alone, trapped in a nightmare. Sarah woke up in a cold sweat, panting heavily. It had all been a dream, she thought, as she looked around her room, but then she noticed something odd. The window was open, and there was a chill in the air. Sarah got up to close the window, and that's when she saw them. The faceless figures were standing outside her window, watching her. Sarah tried to scream, but no sound came out. She could feel the cold breeze on the figures on her face. She tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move. The faceless figures reached out to her, and she felt their icy hands on her skin.
Story 3. The Killer Flower.
It was a dark and stormy night when young Jameson stumbled upon the mysterious plant. He had been out exploring the woods near his home, a place he had always found peaceful and serene. But as he wandered deeper into the forest, he came across a strange, glowing plant that seemed to pulse with a sickly green light. Despite his instincts telling him to stay away, Jameson was drawn to the plant. He reached out and plucked one of its leaves, inhaling deeply. The scent was intoxicating, and he couldn't resist taking a bite. At first, he felt nothing out of the ordinary, but as the night wore on, Jameson began to feel an itching sensation all over his body. He tried to ignore it and go to sleep, but the itching grew worse and worse until it felt like his skin was crawling. As dawn broke, Jameson looked in the mirror and saw the first signs of the horror that was to come. His skin was turning a sickly shade of green, and his flesh was starting to rot away before his very eyes. He screamed in terror, but no one could hear him. He spent the next few days in a state of panic, trying to find a way to stop the rot that fast consuming him. He visited doctors and shamans, seeking cure, but nothing worked. The rot continued to spread, and Jameson was left with no choice but to accept his fate. He retreated to his home, barricading himself inside and waiting for the end to come. He caught near the whispers of the plant, urging him to eat more and hasten his demise. But Jameson was determined to fight until the better end. As the days turned into weeks, Jameson's body continued to rot away. His skin fell off in clumps, and his organs began to fail. He was in constant pain, but he refused to give up. Finally, one day, Jameson knew that the end was near. He lay on his bed, his body barely clinging to life, and whispered a prayer for deliverance, but it was not be. The plant had taken hold of his mind as well as his body, and as Jameson breathed his last, he was consumed by urge to spread its seeds. His body exploded in a shower of green spores, and the plant's tendrils reached out to find new hosts. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the scary story and that it gave you a good fright. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to our channel for more spine-tingling tales. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you thought of the video. We love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future videos. And don't worry, we will continue to release more scary stories to keep you on the edge of your seat. So stay tuned and thank you again for watching.